This isn't just any camp hosting video.
Today, we're going to go over some of the things no one ever tells you before accepting a job as a camp host. And unless you watch this video, you won't know either until it's too late.
So y'all probably noticed the smoke in the background. We tried to find a nice location to shoot this video, but with all the fires going on in and around California, every time the wind shifts, it blows smoke in. And this is actually our second attempt to shoot this video, so we're just gonna go for it.
Okay, so before we get into some of the negative aspects of camp hosting, which you really should know about before accepting a job, we're going to tell you why we like it and give you some of the reasons we choose to make it our primary gig.
And the first of those reasons is location. The main reason why we like camp hosting is because we get to choose the beautiful locations to work in. We chose Mammoth Lakes, California, and that's where we're at today. Because prior to hitting the road as full-time RVers, we had never been to the West Coast. So when it came time to leave our old lives behind, we wanted to make sure that we went somewhere completely different and explored a part of the country that we'd never been before. And did we ever pick a great location? Mammoth Lakes is beautiful, and so is the surrounding areas, but it's not the only beautiful location out there. And camp hosting is a great way for you to explore them all. So find a place you want to visit and pick a camp hosting gig in it.
Another thing we really like about camp hosting is the flexibility in our schedule. Camp hosting isn't your typical 9-to-5 job. You're not going to start the day and rush to get as much done in the shortest amount of time like you might an office job. And that's because most of your duties are going to be performed around the campground schedule of check-ins and check-outs. For instance, you might hang your reservations and check your bathrooms for cleanliness around 8 o'clock in the morning, but then you're not going to start cleaning sites for new arrivals until after campers start checking out around noon. So there could be, and usually is, a 2 to 3 hour break in between duties, which we use as an opportunity to run some personal errands. Run to the store, pick up a few items, throw a load of laundry in, just so that we don't have to do these things on our day off.
Next on the list, the pay and perks can be pretty good as well. Now this is going to vary depending on what part of the country you work in and whether you're full or part-time. But if you can land a camp hosting gig at $14 to $15 an hour, plus get a free site with full hookups, all in a beautiful location, you're not doing too bad. And it's not uncommon to find a camp hosting job with all of these benefits.
Yeah, and then finally, you're going to meet some pretty awesome people. Campers are some of the nicest people out there, and nowhere other than a camp hosting job will you run into people from all over the country and even the world who are genuinely interested in getting to know you. Over the last 3 years that we've been camp hosting, we've met a lot of nice people, made a lot of good friends, and we have no doubt that quite a few of them will be lifelong.
So we're going to move into what we'll call the neutral area. And there's a couple of things that come to mind that aren't necessarily good or bad, but could be either depending on your personality.
And the first of these is that camp hosting requires a lot of interaction with people. Whether you're checking in campers or they're coming up to your rig to ask questions, or they're just striking up conversation with you because that is what campers do, you will never run out of people to talk to, whether you want to or not. So if you're a social person and you like that kind of interaction, then you're going to love that aspect of camp hosting. Unfortunately, there is a flip side to that. And that is, if you're not a very social person or you just hate people in general, it's cool, then camp hosting might be a bit of a challenge for you. The best advice we can give is to just know yourself and what you are and aren't comfortable with.
Okay, so the second thing that comes to mind is that camp hosting is an outdoor job, and it does require some physical activity. It's not a desk job, and you'll be required to be outside regardless of the weather, and you'll most likely be raking sites, cleaning bathrooms, shoveling pits, and doing other physical duties. But having said that, you don't have to be in your 20s or in really good physical shape to land a camp hosting gig. There are lots of older folks out there, a lot older than us, who camp host, and are capable of getting the job done. And again, neither of these things that we just mentioned in this neutral category are positive or negative. They're just things that you want to keep in mind based on your personality, preferences, and your abilities.
Yeah. Okay, so moving further down the rungs, and the main reason we wanted to make this video, let's talk about the negative aspects of camp hosting. And we do think that these are negatives regardless of your personality. But there are also things you will not be told before accepting the job.
Yes.
So the first of these is you're never really off duty. As a camp host, you're going to have a schedule outlining the days that you'll work and your days off. You'll figure out a routine that works best for you and allows you to finish up around the same time each day. But just because you finished your assigned duties doesn't mean you're going to be left alone. Unfortunately, a camp host day never really comes to an end. Long after you've completed your duties, campers are still going to come into the park. They're going to ask about available sites, and late arrivals are going to want to let you know that they've made it in. You are going to have campers complaining about neighbors being too loud, and then there will always be that there's a bear in my campsite knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. To make matters worse, you will never be able to eat dinner without being disturbed, and you'll never be able to use the bathroom in peace. Unfortunately, there's just no escaping it. You are the go-to person in the campground for absolutely everything, and the time of day is irrelevant to everyone around you. So on our days off, we actually leave the campground so we don't have to deal with it.
Having said that, this won't apply to you if you're working a campground with very few sites. We work 45 sites, and then that doubles when our co-hosts are off. So 2 days a week, we're working almost 100 sites. This isn't uncommon. So know in advance how many sites you're going to be responsible for, and then be prepared to never be left alone. The second negative aspect of camp hosting is that this job invades your home. What we mean by that is that there's usually necessary paperwork you'll need to do your job every day, and you'll need to have access to it throughout the day. And this can be things like permits, rubber gloves, receipts, change of monies that is paid to you, campground maps, clipboards, pins, and things of that nature. And don't forget the uniforms. The negative here is that if you have a small rig like us, you have to find room for all this stuff. And if you have a neat freak in your house, it's going to really get on their nerves.
The second way this job invades your home is through all the dirt you're going to track inside your rig just because of your environment and some of your duties, like raking campsites. You will be in and out of your rig literally 1,000 times a day. And every time you return, your floors are going to get a little dirtier and dustier. And by the end of the day, they're going to be filthy. We got tired of this pretty quickly, so now we take our shoes off before we come in each time. It is a little more inconvenient and time consuming, but we figure considering all the stuff we have to do our jobs has pretty much taken over our home, at least by taking off our shoes before we enter, we can try to keep it clean.
And the last thing on this negative category list is, if you guessed that bathrooms would be on it, then you're right. Cleaning bathrooms will usually be listed on any advertised camp hosting job, but I've yet to see a job posting describing some of the disgusting messes that you're going to have to clean up. So let's just keep it real. Some people have very to little social etiquette, and unfortunately campers is no exception. And we don't mind doing general cleaning of the bathrooms. It is what it is, and it's part of our job. But what we do have a problem with is the pretty disgusting habits that people bring into the public bathrooms.
Yeah, the first of these is going to be the soiled toilet paper being placed in the trash cans for everyone to see and smell instead of being flushed down the toilet. And we really just don't get this. We have had many conversations trying to figure out why people would do this. We've even discussed the possible reasons someone might tell themselves to justify it, including the environmentally conscious ones. But at the end of the day, even those don't really hold up. The bottom line is anybody really should know that nobody wants to see and smell their I probably can't say that, huh?
No.
Okay. The bottom line is anybody really should know that no one wants to see and smell their poop.
But the bad bathroom etiquette doesn't end there. The next disaster that you'll be faced with is when someone literally poops on the seat instead of in the toilet. This is usually accompanied by footprints on top of the toilet seat, which tells us right away that this may be a cultural thing. I think that we all know that there's people in other countries that squat to use the bathroom instead of sitting on the toilet. And since people from all over the world like to camp in the United States, you will encounter this at some point. And when you do, it's not going to be fun.
There are other bathroom messes you're going to have to clean up besides the two that we just mentioned, such as those found only in the women's restrooms. And I think everyone knows what we're talking about. But also from injuries that have caused bleeding. But the point is, none of this is going to be detailed in the job description. Okay, so wrapping it up, we are glad we got to tell you some of the things we love about camp hosting, but the main point we wanted to drive home is that there's a lot more to camp hosting than just filling out reservations and checking in campers and making good friends. These are things that will not be listed in the job description or even discussed with you. But you really should know before considering the job, because some of these things could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. In our opinion, never being left alone is a big deal, even if you're an extremely social person. Having your tiny home overrun by paperwork and office supplies is also a big deal. This can cause some people anxiety. And cleaning up feces and bodily fluids, well, that's a really, really big deal. And it's also a biohazard that some may want nothing to do with. So knowing these things in advance may very well be the difference between applying for a camp hosting job or not. And we think anyone interested in a camp hosting job has the right to know before they do.
So we hope this video gave you some insight on the good and not so good aspects of camp hosting. And hopefully you'll be able to make a more informed decision about whether it's right for you. If you have any questions about this video or something we didn't cover but you would have liked us to, leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you.
Also, don't forget to check out our previous video. It's called So You Want to Be a Camp Host, where we take you around the campground with us for a day and show you what we actually do on a daily as camp hosts.
Please don't forget to like this video and show your support by subscribing, and also hit that notification button so you don't miss our next video. And until next time, we'll catch you down the road.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Take care now.
Some personal errands like a load of laundry. Okay, rewind it. Don't be looking at a woman in her bikini.
Huh? Oh. Going on in and around California, every time the wind shifts, it blows in smoke. It is what it is, and this is actually our second attempt at shooting.
It's after me. Oh, okay.
It's your hairspray. You good?
Come on. Wait. A bug flew in my mouth. My throat.
Vacation. And camp hosting is a great way to explore it all. So pick a place you want to visit and find a camp ghosting gig in it.
A camp ghosting?